Sunday session, lads. Week number 3, we are back. This week we're going to dive into off-season training, and I think this is a valid time to talk about it because of the whole COVID-19. There's no competitions going on, so I'm going to kind of dive into what the purpose of off-season training is and what our main goals going into a prep phase before a competition. Right. So off-season training, lads. Right. Two things that would stay same for everyone really is intensity won't be that high because it's not that important. You're not coming up to any competitions. You don't have to create that stimulus of getting that high intensity yet. Volume will be high. So intensity is low, volume's high. So we're doing more work. We're trying to fix them imbalances, create a higher GPP, general physical preparedness, doing a lot of unilateral work with dumbbells, bent over rows, strict press, Bulgarian split squats, trying to build out the imbalances, get the right side as strong as the left side, a lot of core work, just building a strong base, strong foundation. That's the key of a good off season. I'm going to talk about how each off season should be different, but you'll get the same goals, right? That's the key here, right? So I got two athletes, nobody in particular, right? So athlete A and athlete B come up to that competition, we'll say. 1 rep max squat clean. So it's a 1 rep max squat clean. Athlete A comes up, cleans it from the floor, good front rack mobility, catches it nice tight back, stands up slow, very, very slow. So you could say leg strength is probably his weakness there. We're just making an assumption, could be something else, but we're just saying 100% it's his leg strength, right? Athlete B, 100 kg clean, bad front rack mobility, catches it, could just be a bad catch. Stands up easy, stands it up pretty easy, right? And athlete A goes to 110, catches it pretty easy, stands up, alright, to halfway, then falls, right? Doesn't have the leg strength to stand up 110. Athlete B, on the other hand, catches it in the bottom easy enough, but bad front rack mobility, and drops the bar, right? Because he doesn't have that mobility to fix it. So athlete A and athlete B need different requirements in the off season to get the same goal, to get a stronger squat clean. So athlete A needs to be doing more strength work on his legs, like 5-3-1 or Wendler, conjugate, linear program. If he's more novice, we'll talk about in later videos. And athlete B needs to work on more mobility, lat mobility, wrist mobility, working on a good front rack mobility, just to get the same goals, right? This applies to everything, lads, right? When you're doing stuff in the off season, I want you to think about when you're doing a workout, the next time you do a workout, what was the limiting factor in that workout for me? It could be something simple as like recycling a dumbbell, right? Recycling a barbell, if you have bars. And then you could break it down more. Like, is it like dumbbell? Is it just dumbbell thrusters? Is it dumbbell thrusters on my left side compared to my right side? Is it dumbbell snatches? Like transitioning from arm to arm. Is that efficient? You need to work on these things, lads. These small little things that will give you an extra 1 to 2%. And the more efficient you get at a movement, right, the less oxygen your body will need to require to do that movement. Alright? So if you're doing dumbbell snatches and you're not efficient, or you struggle to do dumbbell snatches, then the more oxygen your body is needing and the more pressure your body is under. Like, it's like when someone does double unders and they're efficient at double unders, that's the break for them in the workout compared to someone who's not efficient at double unders. And there's key aspects in the off season that you need to think about the whole time. What do I need to get better at, right? I need to get better at this. How do I get better at this? Here's a video of me, how do I fix this? Because I know for a fact that the majority, right, even with your Olympic lifts, if you just focused on 1 or 2 things, like there's one person technically out too much clean and snatch when it gets heavy, that if they fix that during like a prep phase for a competition, they would be able to do the 1 rep max in workouts like 4 to 5 reps with short periods of break, just fixing a small thing in the off season. And this is why the off season is such a good time to work on this. We've no competitions coming up till the Open, so this is the perfect time, as Ben Bergeron would say, kill 2 goats, kill 2 weaknesses, make them not strengths, because that's not really going to happen in a short period of time, but make them that you kind of enjoy them. I mean, you're not going to enjoy them at the start. No one enjoys doing stuff they're bad at. They always like stuff they're doing good at. But good CrossFit athletes or good athletes will do the stuff they're not good at. And I mean, I don't know if any of you are watching like the Michael Jordan thing, but I think Kobe was saying to Michael Jordan, how do I get better at the fadeaway shot or stuff like that? And Mike had helped him. And I bet you Kobe went on and worked on his weaknesses. There's no point him going working on his strengths, but when he has a bigger area he can increase working on his weaknesses during the off season. And it's also very important to work on these weaknesses in the off season, because when we get to the prep phase, the intensity needs to be high, alright? And if you haven't worked on the weaknesses, it's going to be very hard for you to build your intensity as you go along, alright? Because you're not that efficient at the moment, so it's going to slow you down the workout. You can't push at 100% maximum intensity. Well, 80 to 90% maximum intensity, so maximum intensity in the workouts. So it's going to like affect your performance going into the Open. It all correlates together. Off season, make yourself as efficient as possible, intensity low, volume high. Then the volume will decrease throughout the prep phase, right? So we're prepping up here. We'll say it's an 8-week block. Where's the start of the camera? All the way up here. 8 weeks, right? Volume's coming down, intensity's going high, week to week, alright? It's like giving caffeine to a new person, right? You're not going to give him like the full scoop the first time he's ever taken caffeine. So he's going to be wired, but eventually he's going to build a tolerance to that, just like you're going to build a tolerance to intensity and creating that stress and disturbing that homeostasis in the body. The body's going to adapt and adjust. It's called the general adaptation syndrome, or it's the gas system anyway, lads, right? Look it up. I think it was an endocrinologist from Quebec, Hans, he came up with it. You put the body under stress, it would adapt, alright? And this kind of goes into super compensation. We'll say your general line of fitness is here. You'll decrease that obviously through fatigue and stuff. Then the body will repair itself, adapt. You get that super compensation where you're above your base level line of fitness. And this is our main goal for our prep phase, is to get that fitness up as high as we can in an 8-week block, because the intensity is so high. We don't want to lead to overtraining as well. So just think about it, lads. Off-season training, work on the weaknesses, alright? Try and get as efficient as possible. Obviously we're going to have intensity high once or twice a week, but the majority of our training, 80% of our training, is going to be at low percentage, because I'm telling you, you would be so much better off if you become efficient at movements like a pistol or a burpee box jump or a clean or a snatch going into that prep phase. Because if you go into that prep phase with like your full efficiency, that prep phase will be so much beneficial for you. Like all the top CrossFit athletes move so well, and I bet you during their off season, because you always hear them, they always take recovery, they always rest, take an active recovery day and they take a full rest day. Don't be that hero who needs to train 7 days a week. Oh, I do more than everyone else, and you're just, because you don't have that line. As I said last week, we have that low intensity line, but when we train hard, right? And then if you're training the whole time, usually your low becomes, oh, I need to train hard, and then your hard session drops down because you don't have the intensity. So like you're like here and here, so you're just training zone 3 the whole time. So instead of training zone 2 and zone 4 and 5, you're just here in this like this grey area, which training zone 3 you're going to get fitter, but you need to train that lactic threshold up here, you train that aerobic system down here. Don't be only train hard here, I'm not getting much out of it, and then when you're training hard, oh, I'm actually wrecked, and you're just like barely above each other and you're just hitting the same thing over and over again, right? When I give you a hard workout, go flat out. When I give you an easy workout, take it easy. As I always said, after an easy workout, you should be like, I could have went on so much longer. And then after a hard workout, it's like, okay, I'm gonna get sick. I'm dizzy after it. Especially if you're doing like 20-second sprints or hill sprints or on the assault bike, after the 5th set, you're like, I'm done. Like, I'm wiped. I'm finished. Or 3 minute on, 1 minute off. You do that workout and you're like, there's no way I'm doing an extra round. That's what you need to be at. And that interval style training would be more prevalent in the prep phase. And as I said, back to the caffeine, lads, right? And stuff like that. Just build that tolerance up slowly. So obviously the intensity at the start of the week, when you're going to prep phase, is going to be low, but like towards the end, it's at maximum. Like you're doing one workout, full out, Fran, or an open workout, and you're going flat out trying to beat your old score. And that's enough done for the day, lads, because you're going to get that adaptation from that workout. Because you're putting that body under so much stress, the body's going to adapt, adjust, and get better, and get fitter. And think about it, when we come to like the open and CrossFit workouts, you're not becoming better at GPP, you're becoming like Pacific athletes, you're working on Pacific stuff. Obviously anything come up, but we know the time domains, you know it's going to be a couplet or a triplet, and there's going to be a long 20-minute workout or 15-minute workout. There's going to be a heavy lift, and it's usually Olympic lifting. Burpees, so you're going to do a lot of burpees, maybe burpee box jumps, dumbbell snatches, toes to bars come up, double unders, ring muscle ups, bar muscle ups. And that's the same again, lads, in the off season. Build that volume for pulling and stuff like that, because I know a few of you want to get into that like ring muscle and stuff, so build that foundation. I mean, strict ring rows, strict pull-ups, kipping dips if you're bad at kipping dips, just working the weaknesses. And as I said, look at the workout, see what the limiting factor is, and give me feedback in the workouts, lads. Like, alright Tig, I did this workout, but I mean my burpee box jump wasn't great. And this is why you should always video yourself doing stuff, because in your head it does look different. And the best way to describe this is, we've all been there. So you look at a class, and like all of you are pretty good at moving, so it's not a big deal. But like, look at a class in CrossFit A2 or CrossFit Mallow, wherever, and you deadlift, and the whole class would deadlift. You'd always have them 1 or 2 bad movers, alright? And you're like, but they think they're moving perfectly, right? They think they're on the ball. They think, yeah, I'm doing this well. And you go over, try and fix 1 or 2 things, and like some people, you could be there for ages. So if I can fix one thing in that movement, that's perfect, right? Don't fix everything so fast. So look at your videos, fix one thing. It could be keeping the bar closer, it could be better front rack mobility, anything like that, that's alright. So any suggestions, send me a DM, alright, about the next video next week. And the only thing I'll say, lads, right, when you're giving feedback on Fitter, or True Coach, just be like, alright, this workout, this was the limiting factor. Friday Night Lights, workout 2, dumbbell snatches. I wasn't that good at recycling. Why are you not good at recycling? Like, is it the transaction between right to left arm? Are you just dropping the dumbbell down and picking it up again? Is it the burpee box jumps? Is it the burpees? Is it the squats? Like, a squat is a movement and it's a skill. The better you become at squatting, the better back squats you'll get. Stuff like that. It needs to be worked, especially in this time, lads. This is the most important part of your training, because like the intensity phase and the prep phase, I mean, that's just you going, like, that's not you working anything, that's just you need to work on intensity. You do a small bit of like mobility and stuff like that, but like the main goal is to get ready for a competition. So your intensity needs to be high, and you're going to be wiped out for the majority of the day because you're going at such a high intensity. Same thing again, you have active recovery days and stuff like that, but it'd be more like CrossFit, more high intensity stuff, zone 3, zone 4. But that's it, lads. So any questions, get back to me, and we'll see you next week.